Today I'm going to cover something very, very important as it relates to manifesting and creating the life that you want. And that is, what do you do within the interval of time when you're waiting for your manifestation to materialize? So you've assumed the state, you have visualized it, you've gone into your imagination and you've assumed a state, and now you're just waiting for it to come to you, and you're wondering about the interval of time. Are you taking the proper steps? Are you doing all the right things to make that happen? And I'm going to explain that, and it involves free will. I'm going to break this down for you today, and this is very, very, very important. All right, so free will, to act or not to act? That is the question. Okay, so thank you guys, as always, for liking this video. You guys are awesome, and expect great things to come to you very, very soon. Okay, so what should you do while you're waiting for your manifestation to come into your life? And the answer to that is absolutely nothing. You do not take action in your 3D world. You only take action in your assumptive world, in the psychological world, and that is the state of the fulfilled desire. That's the only action that you take, because then it will be automatic. Once you have assumed a state, you will be acting automatically. It will no longer be voluntary. You're not even going to know that you're going to be doing it. It's going to be so automatic once you have assumed a state. And if you try to take action in your 3D world, you're going to be changing that assumed state. So you're changing what you're manifesting if you act outside of those automatic movements in your 3D world from the assumptive state. So I'm going to explain that a little bit further. I know that might be confusing, but I'm going to go ahead and break this down. Okay, so the question is often asked, what should be done between the assumption of the wish fulfilled and its realization? Nothing. This is Neville Goddard here. He says, I took one little excerpt out of here, but the rest of it is mine, my own transcript. Okay, so nothing. It is a delusion that other than assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you can do anything to aid the realization of your desire. Okay, so the only action required by you is to assume the feeling of the state of the wish fulfilled. Okay, so any action outside of assuming the wish fulfilled will only change your assumed fulfilled state. I'm going to read that one more time. So any action outside of assuming the wish fulfilled will only change your assumed fulfilled state. Okay, so this is because when you assume the wish fulfilled and persist in that wish, your action based on that will not be voluntary. Okay, so only involuntary or automatic, because free will does not exist in the 3D world. You will automatically do everything that needs to be done to accomplish your assumed vision. Other people will also aid you in this realization. But if you try and take 3D action outside of your assumed state, you will automatically be assuming a different fulfilled state, and it will change everything. Okay, so you have no free will to act in your 3D world, only free will to choose what concept or feeling you will impress yourself with. So whatever feeling you have sustained, that will be the controlling factor of your automatic actions in the 3D world. And if you try to act outside of that, it will just create another feeling state, and you will just be moved into another assumptive part of your 3D world. I'm going to read that again. This is very important. Okay, so whatever feeling you have sustained, that will be the controlling factor of your automatic actions in the 3D world. And if you try to act outside of that, it will just create another feeling state within you in the psychological world, and you will just be moved into another assumptive part of your 3D world where you'll be manifesting something different. Okay? Your entire life is based on your feeling state as you impress the subconscious mind, which will be projected outwardly into your 3D world. You think you can do something, you want to do something, but actually you can do nothing. The illusion of free will is but ignorance of the law of assumption upon which all action is based. All that befalls you, all that is done by you, happens. Your assumptions, conscious or unconscious, direct all thought and action to their fulfillment. To understand the law of assumption, to be convinced of its truth, means getting rid of all illusions about free will to act in the 3D world. Free will means freedom to select any idea you desire in the internal world. Okay, so free will means freedom to select any wish fulfilled that you want to assume. Okay, so by assuming the idea already to be a fact, it is converted into reality. So when you've assumed a state, then it's converted into reality. So free will begins and ends within the psychological world, not the 3D world. Like he says, free will means freedom to select any idea you desire. By assuming the idea already to be a fact, it is converted into reality. Beyond that, free will ends and everything happens in harmony with the concept assumed. Okay, so I'm going to run through this before we end this video. Just a couple more of these points right here, the ones that I put in here. I'm going to run through these again. Okay, so the only action required by you is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and then it will be automatic. You will be automatically doing things. You won't be thinking about taking action because you're going to be automatically programmed for that assumption. And if you try to force that, try to force your way out of that and start taking action based on if you feel like you need to take action, that means you are assuming a different feeling now. That means you have changed the assumed feeling that you had when you first started. Because if you're thinking about taking action, if you're actually having the thought, then you've already changed the original assumed state. So whatever you were assuming, the assumption, the persisted assumption that you had has changed now if you're thinking or you're having the thought of taking action. So you've changed it. So if you get the feeling of taking action, then go back and start assuming the original state again, and you won't have those thoughts. That's the key. That's the key right there. So any action outside of assuming the wish fulfilled will only change your assumed fulfilled state. This is because when you assume the wish fulfilled and persist in that wish, your action based on that will be voluntary, will not be voluntary, only involuntary or automatic, because free will in the 3D world does not exist. You will automatically do everything that needs to be done to accomplish your assumed vision. Other people will also aid you in this realization, but if you try and take 3D action outside of your assumed state, you will automatically be assuming a different fulfilled state, and it will change everything. You have no free will to act in the 3D world. So only free will to choose what concept of feelings you will impress yourself with. So whatever feeling you have sustained, that will be the controlling factor of your automatic actions in the 3D world. And if you try to act outside of that, that will just create another feeling. Well, what it does is that, actually, I want to clarify that. And if you try to act outside of that, that means that you have gotten out of the original assumed state. So you need to stop right there. So if you're starting to feel like you need to take action, that means that you have gotten out of the original assumed state. So get back into that assumed state. So when you start getting that feeling, get right back into that assumed state, and then you won't have that need to take action because everything will be falling into place like it's supposed to, because free will only exists in the 3D world. This is a tough one. This is for the advanced elite. All right, guys, this is free will right here. Okay, so free will to act or not to act. I know it's a little confusing, but I try to break it down. Leave me your comments in the box below, any feelings you have on this free will. And if you understand the way that I put this, because I'll do it again, I'll break it down even more if I have to. But this is very important to understand, okay? So what should you do when you're waiting for your manifestation to come into your life? Nothing. Just assume the state, and you will not want to act. You will not feel the need to take action if you're in your actually assumed wish fulfilled, the desire as being an accomplished fact, and it's persisted in. You will not even feel the need to take action because it will be automatic. All right, guys, I love you guys very much, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.